Life support good.
Michael Mann made a supernatural Nazi thriller, and Paramount destroyed it. William Friedkin directed a crime masterpiece, and critics killed it. Kathryn Bigelow made a vampire western decades before she won an Oscar, and nobody cared. These are 15 forgotten movies from the 80s that still hold up in 2025. Movie 1, The Keep, 1983.
I built a keep. Anything out?
Michael Mann directs a supernatural horror film about Nazis fighting an ancient demon in a Romanian fortress. Paramount cuts 70 minutes out of it and dumps it into theaters with no marketing. The film bombs. Mann tries to bury it. And now it's impossible to find in any quality format, because Mann won't allow a proper release. But what exists is fascinating. It's 1941. German soldiers occupy an ancient keep in the Carpathian Mountains. They start dying in horrific ways. Something is waking up inside the fortress. Not a ghost, not a vampire. Something older and far more dangerous. Mann shoots it like a fever dream. Tangerine Dream provides this hypnotic electronic score. The cinematography by Alex Thompson is stunning. Every frame looks like a painting. The production design is incredible. The keep itself feels like a living thing. Scott Glenn plays a mysterious stranger who might be the only one who can stop the demon. Jürgen Prochnow is the German commander who realizes too late what they have unleashed. Ian McKellen is a Jewish scholar brought in to translate the keep's inscriptions. Gabriel Byrne plays an SS officer who thinks he can control the demon. The studio panicked during post-production. Mann turned in a 3-hour cut. Paramount demanded he cut it to 96 minutes. Mann refused. The studio took the film away from him and butchered it themselves. They removed entire subplots. Character motivations vanish. The narrative becomes incomprehensible in places. Critics destroyed it. Audiences stayed away. It made $3 million domestic on a $6 million budget. Mann has disowned it completely. He won't talk about it in interviews. He's blocked every attempt to release a director's cut, or even a decent Blu-ray. But the film has this cult following now. Filmmakers worship it. Guillermo del Toro calls it a masterpiece. The visual influence shows up everywhere. That combination of war film and supernatural horror, the electronic score over gothic imagery, it all feels completely unique. The full cut might not even exist anymore. Paramount might have destroyed it. But even in its butchered form, The Keep remains one of the most visually striking films of the 80s. Just impossible to see in any quality. Movie 2, Streets of Fire, 1984.
Is king. The only law is a loaded gun.
Person, the musical world, actors always.
Walter Hill makes a rock and roll fable about a soldier who returns home to rescue his ex-girlfriend from a motorcycle gang. Universal markets it as an action movie. Audiences don't know what to make of it. The film bombs hard, and Hill's career never fully recovers. But it's not an action movie. It's not a musical either. Hill calls it a rock and roll fable. It exists in this heightened reality where the 50s and 80s collide. Vintage cars and neon lights, leather jackets and synthesizers. Nothing about it is realistic, and that's the point. Michael Paré plays Tom Cody, the soldier who comes back to Richmond, a city that looks like no city that ever existed. Diane Lane is Ellen Aim, the rock singer kidnapped by Raven Shattuck and his Bombers motorcycle gang. Willem Dafoe plays Raven like a leather-clad demon. Rick Moranis is Ellen's manager who hires Tom to get her back. The whole film is stylized to an extreme degree. Hill shoots it like a comic book. Bold colors, theatrical lighting, staged action sequences that look like musical numbers. The violence is choreographed. The dialogue is pulp fiction. Everything is turned up to 11. Jim Steinman and Stevie Nicks and Ry Cooder create this rock soundtrack that defines the entire movie. The songs aren't just background music. They're part of the storytelling. Diane Lane lip-syncs to Laurie Sargent's vocals. And it works because nothing about this film pretends to be real. Universal didn't understand it. They released it in June of '84 with a marketing campaign that made it look like a typical action thriller. Critics were confused. Audiences expected something different. The film made $8 million domestic on a $14 million budget. Hill wanted to make sequels. He had this whole trilogy planned. But the box office killed that immediately. The studio moved on. and Streets of Fire became this cult object that influenced everyone who saw it. You can see it everywhere now. Every music video with neon and leather, every comic book movie with heightened reality, every film that tries to blend genres into something new. They're all borrowing from Streets of Fire, whether they know it or not. Movie 3, Thief of Hearts, 1984.
Being sensitive enough to get into your diaries is about 1,000,000,000 to 1.
I know. Gorgeous guy.
Douglas Day. Stewart directs an erotic thriller about a burglar who steals a woman's diaries and uses her fantasies to seduce her. Paramount dumps it with an R rating that cuts the best scenes. Critics dismiss it as sleazy exploitation. The film vanishes. But it's actually far more interesting than anyone gave it credit for. Stephen Bauer plays Scott, a high-end thief who breaks into wealthy homes in San Francisco. He steals jewelry and art, but he also steals something else. Barbara Williams plays Mickey, a book designer married to a successful attorney. Scott breaks into her house and finds her diaries where she's written detailed sexual fantasies about strangers. He becomes obsessed with her. Not just sexually, he reads everything she's written. He learns her desires, her fears, her disappointments with her marriage. Then he orchestrates a chance meeting and uses everything he knows to become exactly what she's been fantasizing about. The premise sounds exploitative, but Stewart directs it with surprising nuance. This isn't just about sex. It's about intimacy and identity. Mickey has written these fantasies because she can't express them in her real life. Scott reads them and gives her permission to be who she actually is. Bauer is perfect as this guy who's broken into someone's psyche instead of just their house. Williams makes Mickey more than just a victim or a fantasy object. She's a woman discovering parts of herself she's kept hidden. John Getz plays her husband as a decent guy who just doesn't see her anymore. Paramount wanted a steamy thriller they could market to the 9.5 weeks crowd. Stewart gave them something more complex. The studio cut the film to get an R rating. They removed scenes that built character in favor of scenes that showed skin. The marketing made it look like softcore porn. It opened in October '84 and made almost nothing. Critics who bothered to review it called it trashy. Video stores filed it in the erotic thriller section next to actual trash. And serious film discussions ignored it completely. But Harold Faltermeyer's electronic score became a cult favorite. The cinematography by Andrew Laszlo is gorgeous. The San Francisco locations give it visual richness. And the central idea about stolen intimacy is genuinely provocative. It deserves to be rediscovered as more than just an erotic thriller. It's a film about fantasy and reality, and the gap between who we are and who we want to be. Movie 4, The Last Starfighter, 1984.
One night. Centauri's the name.
Life support good.
Nick Castle directs a space opera about a teenager who's recruited to fight an alien war after mastering an arcade game. Universal markets it as the next Star Wars. It's not. The film underperforms. And it gets buried by Gremlins and Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Just another forgotten summer movie from '84. But it predicted everything. The idea that video games are training simulations, that corporations are watching how we play, that virtual skills translate to real-world applications. All of it seemed ridiculous in 1984. Now, it's just describing reality. Lance Guest plays Alex Rogan, a kid stuck in a California trailer park who's the best player at this arcade game called Starfighter. Robert Preston is Centauri, the alien recruiter who reveals that the game is actually a test. The best players get recruited to pilot actual starfighters in a real war against the Kodan Armada. The whole fish-out-of-water setup works because Guest plays Alex as a genuine teenager, not a hero. He's scared. He wants to go home. He's not ready for any of this. Dan O'Herlihy plays Grig, his reptilian navigator who has to teach him everything. Their relationship becomes the heart of the film. Castle directs it with real affection for the material. This isn't ironic or camp. It's sincere science fiction that believes in its own mythology. The Kodan are actual threats. The Starfighter Corps has real history. Rylos and the Star League feel like they exist beyond the edges of the frame. The computer graphics were revolutionary at the time. Digital productions created all the space battles with CGI instead of models. It looks primitive now, but in '84 it was groundbreaking. Every space battle in modern movies descends from what they did here. Craig Safan's orchestral score is genuinely great. It sounds like classic science fiction without copying John Williams. The themes are memorable, the action cues work. It's a score that deserves to be rediscovered. Universal expected it to be massive. They released it in July '84 with a big marketing push, but that summer was impossible. Ghostbusters and Gremlins and Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, Star Trek III, Karate Kid, Cannonball Run 2. Too much competition. The Last Starfighter made $28 million domestically. Not terrible, but not enough. The planned sequels never happened. A TV series never materialized. The film just faded away. But it influenced an entire generation of filmmakers and game designers. The idea that gaming ability matters became foundational to nerd culture. Movie 5, Night of the Comet, 1984.
We're talking Ghost Town!
Who would you see?
There's nobody. I mean, there's no...
Tom Eberhardt directs a post-apocalyptic comedy horror about two valley girls who survive when a comet turns everyone else into dust or zombies. Atlantic Entertainment releases it to empty theaters. Critics ignore it. The film makes nothing. But it's smarter and funnier than it has any right to be. Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney play sisters who survived the comet because they were inside steel-lined structures. Everyone who watched the comet disintegrated. Everyone partially exposed became zombie creatures. And now, these two shopping-obsessed teenagers have to survive in an empty Los Angeles. The genius is that Eberhardt treats it like a real character study dressed in genre clothes. These aren't helpless girls waiting to be rescued. They're resourceful and tough. They raid department stores. They practice their shooting in abandoned buildings. They adapt to the apocalypse faster than the armed scientists who show up later. Robert Beltran plays a truck driver who also survived. He teams up with the sisters. Mary Warrenov leads a group of scientists who survived underground and now need the blood of survivors for a cure. Jeffrey Lewis shows up as their psychotic assistant. The whole thing builds to this confrontation between survivors and scientists. Eberhardt keeps the tone perfectly balanced. It's funny without being camp. The horror is real without being oppressive. The Valley Girl dialogue sounds authentic. The chemistry between the sisters feels genuine, and the empty Los Angeles locations give it visual interest. David Richard Campbell's cinematography makes the abandoned city look beautiful and eerie. The scenes in empty streets and shopping malls capture this unique atmosphere. John Carpenter did something similar in Escape from New York, but this feels more dreamlike. David Campbell's score mixes synthesizers and orchestra. It sounds like early John Carpenter, but with its own identity. The main theme is memorable. The horror cues work. It supports the tone without overwhelming it. Atlantic Entertainment had no money for marketing. They released it in November '84, a handful of theaters. No advertising. It made $300,000 total. Critics who saw it treated it like a disposable B-movie, and it disappeared immediately. But it found this cult audience on video. People discovered it was actually good, that it had things to say about consumerism and survival and sisterhood, that it was funnier and darker than most post-apocalyptic films, and that it deserved better than it got. Movie 6, Miracle Mile, 1988.
This can't be true.
Hey, do you know anybody who can fly a helicopter?
Steve DeJarnette directs a nuclear nightmare romance about a guy who answers a wrong number phone call and learns that nuclear war starts in 70 minutes. Hemdale releases it to scattered theaters. It makes nothing. And it vanishes despite being one of the most intense films of the 80s. Anthony Edwards plays Harry, a jazz musician who's just met the girl of his dreams. Mare Winningham plays Julie. They're supposed to have their first date. Harry oversleeps and shows up hours late to the diner. Julie's already gone. Harry answers a payphone. A panicked voice tells him that nuclear missiles have been launched. Los Angeles has 70 minutes before impact. The entire film happens in real time over that 70 minutes. Harry tries to find Julie. He tries to warn people, but nobody believes him. The information spreads slowly. Panic builds gradually. And everything descends into chaos as people realize the call was real. DeJarnette had been trying to make this film for years. He wrote the script in '83. Studios thought it was too dark, too cynical. Who wants to watch a movie where everyone dies in a nuclear war? But Hemdale finally financed it in '87, and DeJarnat delivered exactly what he promised. The genius is how the film builds dread. The first half plays like a romance. Harry and Julie have this natural chemistry. You believe they're falling in love. Then the phone call comes, and everything shifts. The romance becomes desperate. Every minute matters. And you're watching these two people try to find each other before the world ends. Edwards is perfect as this regular guy thrust into impossible circumstances. He's not a hero. He's just someone trying to save the person he loves. Winningham makes Julie more than just the girl Harry's chasing. She's smart and capable, and when they finally reunite, the relief is overwhelming. The Los Angeles locations at night give it this eerie atmosphere. Tangerine Dream provides the electronic score that makes everything feel like a nightmare you can't wake up from. The final 20 minutes are almost unbearable to watch. Hemdale didn't know how to market it. Is it a romance? Is it a thriller? Is it science fiction? They released it in May '88 to about 200 theaters. It made $1.1 million total. Critics who saw it praised it, but audiences never showed up. Then it vanished for decades. No decent home video release. Difficult to find. Just this lost film that people remembered as devastating. Finally got a proper Blu-ray in 2015, and new audiences discovered what they'd been missing. Movie 7, Near Dark, 1987. Kathryn Bigelow directs a vampire western about a farm boy who gets bitten and joins a family of nomadic bloodsuckers. DEG released it the same month as The Lost Boys. Near Dark makes nothing. The Lost Boys became a massive hit, and Bigelow's masterpiece gets forgotten despite being infinitely better. Adrian Pasdar plays Caleb, a farm kid in Oklahoma who meets a beautiful drifter named May. Jenny Wright plays her as mysterious and dangerous. She bites him and leaves him dying by the side of the road. Then her family picks him up. Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen, and Jeanette Goldstein as vampires who've been killing together for over a century. But these aren't gothic vampires. They're nomadic outlaws living in a blacked-out RV, driving across the Southwest, leaving bodies everywhere. They never use the word vampire. There's no folklore or rules. They drink blood and burn in sunlight, and that's all you need to know. Everything else is outlaw mythology. Bigelow treats it like a Western. The vampires are a gang. The family dynamics feel like a crime family. Henriksen is the leader, who's been doing this since the Civil War. Paxton is the psychotic wild card who loves killing. Goldstein is the matriarch. They're testing Caleb to see if he's got what it takes to be one of them. The Bar Massacre is one of the best horror sequences of the '80s. Paxton's vampire terrorizes a bar full of rednecks. The tension builds slowly. Then it explodes into violence. Bigelow shoots it with precision. Every kill matters. The aftermath is horrifying. Adam Greenberg's cinematography captures the American Southwest at night. Dirt roads and abandoned gas stations. Motel rooms and dive bars. Everything looks beautiful and threatening. Tangerine Dream's score mixes synthesizers and gothic orchestration. It sounds like no other vampire film. DEG released it in October '87. Barely any theaters. Minimal marketing. The Lost Boys had come out 2 months earlier and taken all the vampire audience. Near Dark made $3 million total. Critics who saw it praised Bigelow's direction, but nobody was watching. Warner Brothers acquired it later, but never pushed it. It sat in distribution limbo. Hard to find on video. Not on cable. Just lost. Then filmmakers started talking about it. Tarantino mentioned it. Del Toro called it a masterpiece. And slowly it built this reputation. Bigelow would go on to direct Point Break and Strange Days and The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. She'd become the first woman to win Best Director. But Near Dark remains her. Most perfect film. No wasted scenes, no false notes. Just pure genre filmmaking at the highest level. Movie 8, The Hidden, 1987.
Law-abiding taxpayer minding his own business. Killed 12 people, wounded.
Law-abiding citizens all of a sudden go crazy and start killing people.
We're talking spacemen.
Jack Shoulder directs a science fiction cop thriller about an alien parasite that jumps from body to body, and the two mismatched detectives trying to stop it. New Line releases it in October '87. It makes under $10 million, and despite being endlessly entertaining, it just disappears. Kyle MacLachlan plays Lloyd Gallagher, an FBI agent investigating a series of violent crimes in Los Angeles. Michael Nouri is Thomas Beck, the local detective assigned to work with him. But Gallagher is acting strange. He doesn't eat, he doesn't sleep. He knows things he shouldn't know, because he's not human. He's an alien cop chasing an alien criminal. The criminal is a parasitic creature that takes over human bodies. It loves three things: fast cars, heavy metal, and violence. It goes on crime sprees, stealing Ferraris and robbing banks and killing anyone in its way. Then when the body gets too damaged, it jumps into someone new. The genius is how Shoulder plays it completely straight. This isn't camp. The alien isn't funny. The violence is brutal. The chase scenes are intense. And the relationship between McLaughlin and Nouri drives everything. Beck thinks Gallagher is crazy. Then he realizes Gallagher is telling the truth. Then they become partners trying to stop something that can't be stopped normally. The body hopping keeps the story moving. Every new host changes the dynamic. A criminal, a dancer, a stockbroker, a dog, a senator. The alien keeps escalating, and McLaughlin keeps hunting it while trying to explain to Beck what they're actually dealing with. The practical effects are excellent. The alien creature looks disturbing. The transformation sequences are gross. The action is shot cleanly. Shoulder came from horror and low-budget films. He knows how to maximize limited resources. Every dollar is on screen. McLaughlin had just done Blue Velvet. This was his follow-up. He plays Gallagher with this quiet intensity. You believe he's not human even before the reveal. Nouri grounds everything. He's the audience surrogate. His skepticism then, belief then determination, makes everything work. New Line had success with Nightmare on Elm Street. They were trying to branch out, but they didn't know how to market the hidden. It's too weird to be a straightforward action movie, too intense to be science fiction. They released it in October with minimal advertising. It made $9.4 million domestic. Not a disaster, but not successful enough for sequels. There was a low-budget sequel 9 years later that went straight to video. The original just became this lost gem, but filmmakers remembered it. The Men in Black films owe a debt to it. Every alien cop movie afterward borrowed from it. It deserves to be rediscovered as one of the best science fiction thrillers of the 80s. Movie 9, Manhunter, 1986. Michael Mann adapts Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. Brian Cox plays Hannibal Lecter in his first screen appearance. William Peterson plays Will Graham, the FBI profiler who caught him. De Laurentiis Entertainment Group releases it in August '86. It makes under $9 million, and everyone forgets about it until Silence of the Lambs wins Best Picture 5 years later. This is the first Hannibal Lecter film, but nobody knew who Hannibal Lecter was in 1986. The book hadn't been a massive bestseller. The character wasn't iconic yet. So audiences stayed away from this weird serial killer thriller that looked like a Miami Vice episode. But Mann treats the material seriously. Graham is a retired profiler who caught Lecter years earlier and almost got killed. Now the FBI needs him back to catch a new killer, the Tooth Fairy, Francis Dollarhide. Tom Noonan plays him as tragic and terrifying. A man trying desperately not to kill, but compelled by something he can't control. Peterson makes Graham genuinely damaged. He can get into the minds of killers, but it's destroying him. His family is suffering. His marriage is crumbling. And being pulled back into this world means risking everything. Cox plays Lecter with quiet menace. No scenery chewing, just intelligence and malice. Mann shoots it in this heightened stylized way. Bold colors, geometric compositions. The Miami Vice aesthetic applied to a serial killer thriller. Dante Spinotti's cinematography is stunning. Every frame is composed. The Shriekback and Iron Butterfly music choices are bold and weird. The investigation plays out procedurally. Graham rebuilds the killer's timelines. He visits crime scenes. He examines evidence. He talks to Lecter in his cell. Then he figures out the Tooth Fairy's pattern, and it leads to this confrontation where both men are completely vulnerable. DEG had no idea what they had. They marketed it as a typical thriller. They spelled the name Lecter instead of Lecter. They buried any literary connection. And they released it in August, the dumping ground. Critics were mixed. Audiences ignored it. Then, in '91, Silence of the Lambs became a phenomenon. Anthony Hopkins won an Oscar for playing Hannibal Lecter. Suddenly, everyone wanted to see the first Hannibal movie. But Manhunter was out of print, hard to find. And when people did find it, They didn't know what to make of Mann's stylized approach compared to Jonathan Demme's straightforward adaptation. It took years for Manhunter to get recognized as not just a good adaptation, but possibly the best. Mann understood the material differently. He made it about obsession and identity, about men trying to understand monsters while becoming monsters themselves. And Cox's Lector is terrifying precisely because he's so understated. Movie 10, Defense of the Realm, 1986.
We can gather you don't seem to have any especially unpatriotic leanings.
About her husband's relationship with the call girl, ashen-faced Mrs.
David Drury directs a political conspiracy thriller about a British journalist investigating a member of Parliament who's having an affair with a woman linked to the KGB. Hemdale releases it in the UK to acclaim, and in the US to nothing. American audiences ignore it completely, but it's smarter than any conspiracy thriller Hollywood made in the 80s. Gabriel Byrne plays Nick Mullen, a young, ambitious journalist working for a major London newspaper. He breaks a story about Dennis Markham, a Labour MP who's been visiting a house where a KGB agent also visits. The implication is clear. Markham is a spy, or at least compromised. His career is destroyed. He dies in a mysterious subway accident. Then Mullen starts digging deeper. His veteran colleague Vernon Bayliss, played by Denholm Elliott, warns him to drop it, but Mullen keeps investigating, and he discovers that Markham was actually investigating illegal nuclear testing. The affair story was planted to destroy him. The suicide was murder, and now Mullen is in danger. Drury directs it with complete realism. No action sequences, no chases. Just journalists making phone calls, meeting sources, reviewing documents. The thriller elements come from paranoia and surveillance. People following Mullen, his phone being tapped, sources refusing to talk, the government closing ranks. Byrne is excellent as this guy who thinks he's a crusader, but realizes too late he was used. Elliott is heartbreaking as the older journalist who knows how the game is played. Greta Scacchi plays Markham's secretary who might know more than she's saying. Ian Bannon is perfect as the newspaper editor, trying to balance truth and pressure from above. Roger Deakins shoots it, his first major feature as cinematographer. Everything looks gray and cold. London in winter, fluorescent offices, rain-soaked streets. The visual palette matches the moral murkiness. Richard Harvey's score is minimal and ominous. The third act is devastating. Mullen gets the full story. He knows the truth, and then he has to decide what to do with it. The ending refuses to give easy answers. It's cynical about power and compromise and the limits of journalism in the face of government conspiracy. Hemdale released it in the UK in late '86 to strong reviews. The Guardian called it the best British thriller in years, but the American release was barely existent. A few theaters, no marketing. US audiences didn't care about British political intrigue. It made nothing domestically. It's never been properly available in the US. Difficult to find on streaming. Out of print on physical media. Just forgotten. But it deserves to be recognized alongside All the President's Men and The Parallax View as one of the great conspiracy journalism films. Movie 11, 50 Pickup, 1986.
Cops find a body, no clothes on, a gun, your prints all over it.
John Frankenheimer directs an Elmore Leonard adaptation about a successful businessman being blackmailed by criminals who've filmed him having an affair. Cannon Films releases it in November '86. Critics ignore it, audiences stay away, and one of Frankenheimer's best late career films disappears. Roy Scheider plays Harry Mitchell, a Los Angeles business owner with a successful marriage and a construction company. He's been having an affair with a young woman. Then 3 criminals show up with a videotape. They want $100,000 or they'll send the tape to his wife and destroy his marriage and business. But Harry decides not to pay. He tells his wife about the affair. Barbara Mitchell, played by Anne Margaret, is devastated, but she's tough. Then the criminals escalate. They kill Harry's mistress and frame him for it. Now they want $105,000 or they'll give the murder evidence to the police. And Harry realizes these aren't ordinary blackmailers. They're psychopaths. John Glover plays Alan Ramey, the leader, a wannabe porn producer with delusions of grandeur. Clarence Williams III is Bobby Shy, the muscle. Robert Trebor is Leo Franks, the tech guy. Together they're improvising this scheme, no professional planning, just escalating demands and violence. Scheider plays Harry as a guy who's made a mistake but won't be a victim. He starts investigating the blackmailers, building evidence, setting traps. The film becomes this chess game where both sides are maneuvering, but Harry has more to lose and more resources, and he's smarter than they realize. Frankenheimer directs it lean and mean, no wasted scenes. The violence is brutal and sudden. The dialogue is pure Elmore Leonard, sharp and funny, even in dark moments. The Miami locations look expensive, but the budget was small. Frankenheimer makes it look like a major studio film. Anne Margaret is fantastic as Barbara. She could have been just the betrayed wife. Instead, she's Harry's partner. She helps him plan. She makes tough decisions. The marriage becomes the emotional anchor. Gary Chang's electronic score keeps everything tense. Cannon Films was known for cheap action movies and Charles Bronson vehicles. Nobody expected them to release something this good. They dumped it in November with minimal marketing. It made $2 million domestic. Frankenheimer was frustrated. He'd delivered quality and gotten nothing. Leonard adapted his own novel. He'd done it before for The Ambassador and hated the result. This time, he got it right. The characters sound like Leonard characters. The plotting is tight. The moral complexity remains. But nobody saw it. Criterion released it on Blu-ray in 2012, and critics finally recognized it. Scheider doing excellent character work. Frankenheimer showing he still understood thrillers. Leonard proving his novels could be adapted faithfully, just 15 years too late.
Hey, now! Back it up, Steve! Back it up!
Movie 12, To Live and Die in L.A., 1985. William Friedkin directs a crime thriller about two Secret Service agents trying to take down a counterfeiter who's killed their partner. United Artists releases it in November '85. Critics savage it as immoral and ugly. Audiences stay away. And Friedkin's best film, Since the French Connection gets buried. William Peterson plays Richard Chance, a reckless agent who will do anything to catch Eric Masters, the counterfeiter who killed his partner. John Pankow is John Vukovich, the new partner who gets pulled into Chance's increasingly illegal investigation. Willem Dafoe is Masters, an artist who sees counterfeiting as his greatest work. Friedkin makes everyone morally compromised. Chance is technically the hero, but he's violent and corrupt. He steals money from suspects. He manipulates informants. He breaks every rule. Vukovich is the moral center, but even he gets dragged into illegal activity. Masters is a killer, but also a perfectionist artist. Nobody's clean. The plot spirals into chaos. Chance needs money to make a fake buy from Masters. So he robs a criminal. The robbery goes wrong. People die. Now Chance is wanted by both the FBI and the criminals. But he's so obsessed with Masters, he doesn't care. The investigation becomes personal vendetta. The car chase is one of the greatest ever filmed. Friedkin shoots it practically. Real cars at real speeds on real Los Angeles freeways, going the wrong way in traffic. The tension is unbearable, and it ends violently and suddenly. No triumph, just consequences. Robbie Mueller shoots it in this desaturated color palette. Los Angeles looks poisonous. The 80s aesthetic is heightened to absurdity. Wang Chung provides the electronic score that defines the entire film. It sounds dated now, but that's the point. This is period specific. This is 1985. The ending is devastating. Friedkin refuses the Hollywood finish. People die who shouldn't. Survivors make compromises. Justice is ambiguous, and the final shot suggests nothing has changed. The system keeps grinding. United Artists didn't know what to do with it. They marketed it as an action thriller. They highlighted the car chase. They downplayed the moral complexity. Critics were horrified by the amorality. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star. Audiences wanted something more traditional. It made $17 million on a $6 million budget. Not a bomb, but not successful. Then it disappeared. UA was bought by MGM. The film fell through distribution cracks, difficult to find for years. When it finally came back, people realized what they'd missed. This was Friedkin at his most uncompromising, making a genre film that dismantles genre conventions, showing corruption and obsession without judgment. It influenced everything. Every crime film with ambiguous morality. Every thriller about cops becoming criminals. Every chase scene is trying to feel real and dangerous. They're all chasing what Friedkin did in 1985.
Getting out. You've got no help, no nothing. You've got 3.
Movie 13, Black Moon Rising, 1986. Harley Cokeless directs a heist thriller about a thief who hides stolen data in an experimental supercar that then gets stolen by a rival thief. New World Pictures releases it in January '86. It makes $6 million and disappears. But it's got a John Carpenter script and Tommy Lee Jones and a rocket car, and it's endlessly entertaining. Jones plays Quint, a freelance thief working for the government. He's stolen a computer tape with evidence of corporate tax fraud. He's being chased. So, he hides the tape in the Black Moon, a prototype supercar capable of 300 miles per hour. Then, a team of high-end car thieves steals the Black Moon, and Quint has to steal it back. Linda Hamilton plays Nina, the leader of the car theft ring. She's smart and ruthless. She's running a whole operation out of a high-rise garage, stealing expensive cars to order, reselling them internationally, and now she's got this prototype that's worth millions. Robert Vaughn is her backer, a wealthy fence who finances the operation. Carpenter wrote the script in the late 70s. It was supposed to be a low-budget thriller, but it sat for years. By the time it got made, they had a bigger budget and major stars. Cokeless isn't Carpenter. The direction is competent, but not inspired. But the script is pure Carpenter. High concept, clean structure, efficient storytelling. The Black Moon itself looks incredible. It's this sleek black wedge designed by Bill Trumbull. It's both beautiful and ridiculous. A concept car that could never be street legal. But in the film's heightened reality, it works. The climax involves Quint driving it off the roof of a high-rise. The special effects are practical and thrilling. Jones plays Quint as professional and weary. He's good at his job, but tired of it. Hamilton makes Nina more than just the femme fatale. She's a criminal who's built a real business. The chemistry between them works. You believe they respect each other even while opposing each other. Lalo Schifrin provides the score. It's pure 80s synthesizers and percussion. The action cues are propulsive. The main theme is memorable. It sounds exactly like what an 80s John Carpenter script should sound like, even though Carpenter didn't compose it. New World released it in January, The Dumping Ground. Minimal marketing. It played for a few weeks and vanished. Made $6.3 million domestic on a $10 million budget. Not terrible, but not good. The reviews were mixed. Some critics enjoyed the pulp energy. Others found it generic. It's never been properly appreciated. Too pulpy for serious critics. Too weird for mainstream audiences. Just this orphaned thriller with a Carpenter script that nobody remembers. But it deserves to be rediscovered for what it is. A high-concept B movie with A movie talent having fun. Movie 14, The Dead Zone, 1983.
That I am going to be president of the United States someday, and nobody...
It's going to be an accident. Call it off.
Call it off? What for? Chris has been looking forward to this.
David Cronenberg adapts Stephen King's novel about a man who wakes from a 5-year coma with psychic powers. Paramount releases it in October '83. It makes $20 million, which sounds good, until you remember every other Stephen King adaptation made more, and it gets lost in the pile of King films even though it's the best one. Christopher Walken plays Johnny Smith, a high school teacher who gets into a car accident and falls into a coma. 5 years later, he wakes up. His girlfriend has married someone else. His mother has become a religious fanatic, and now, when he touches people, he sees their past and future. Not metaphorically, actually sees it, in vivid, disturbing visions. Cronenberg directs it with complete sincerity. No horror movie tricks, no body horror. Just this sad story about a man given a terrible gift. The psychic visions are shot realistically. Quick flashes, disturbing images. Johnny sees a nurse's house fire, a doctor's mother's death, a young boy's fall through ice. All tragedies he can't prevent. Then he meets Greg Stilson, a Senate candidate played by Martin Sheen. And Johnny has a vision of Stilson as president starting nuclear war. So now Johnny has to decide, do you kill someone for something they haven't done yet? Can you justify murdering someone to prevent a future that might not happen? King's novel is about psychic powers and politics. Cronenberg makes it about responsibility and fate. Jeffrey Boehm's script strips away some of King's supernatural explanations. The visions just are. No origin story, no rules. Johnny has this ability and has to live with it. Walken gives one of his best performances. Johnny is broken by what he can see. Every vision takes something from him. The physical toll is real. Brooke Adams is heartbreaking as his ex-girlfriend, who still loves him but has moved on. Tom Skerritt is solid as the sheriff who believes in Johnny. Michael Kamen's score is beautiful and melancholy. The small-town main locations feel authentic. The cinematography by Mark Irwin is naturalistic. Everything feels grounded even when dealing with the supernatural. Paramount didn't know how to market it. It's not horror like Carrie or The Shining. It's not coming of age like Stand By Me. It's this weird, tragic thriller. They released it in October '83 with a modest push. It made $20 million on a $10 million budget. Decent, but not a phenomenon. Then it got forgotten. Cujo had come out earlier that year. Christine came out the same month. The next year brought Children of the Corn and Firestarter. Too many King adaptations. The Dead Zone got lost even though it was the most mature and thoughtful. Cronenberg would go on to make The Fly and Dead Ringers and Crash and A History of Violence. But The Dead Zone remains his most accessible film. The one where his control and precision serve a straightforward emotional story. It deserves to be remembered as the best Stephen King film. Movie 15, Prince of the City, 1981.
He's gone too far to stop.
Wait a minute, I'm a cop!
All narcotics in the narcotics division.
We're not dope dealers, we're policemen.
He's seen too much.
Was Moscone a partner?
He's a friend.
Sidney Lumet directs a 3-hour police corruption epic about an NYPD detective who becomes an informant and destroys his entire unit. Warner Brothers released it in August '81. Critics rave. It's nominated for an Oscar, and then audiences ignore it completely. Too long, too complex, too morally ambiguous. Just 3 hours of cops betraying cops. Treat Williams plays Danny Cielo, a detective in the NYPD Special Investigations Unit. They're elite. They handle major cases. They also take money and drugs and break every rule. Not for profit, for the job. They need informants, and informants need favors. Everyone's dirty. It's how the system works. Then federal prosecutors pressure Danny to become an informant. They want to clean up police corruption. Danny agrees, but only if his partners are protected. He'll give them other cops. The brass, the really corrupt ones. But the investigation spirals. Danny's partners get caught up. People he promised to protect face charges, and Danny realizes he's destroyed everything. Lumet adapted the book by Robert Daly with J. Preston Allen. The script is dense. Multiple storylines, dozens of characters, legal maneuvering, moral compromises. It's not a thriller, it's a procedural about institutional corruption and personal betrayal. About good cops who are also corrupt cops. About a system that forces everyone into compromise. Williams gives the performance of his career. Danny is loyal and weak, brave and cowardly, a good cop and a corrupt cop. He wants to do the right thing, but doesn't understand that there is no right thing. Every choice has consequences. Every testimony destroys someone. The supporting cast is massive. Jerry Orbach, Bob Balaban, Lindsay Krause, James Tolkien, Paul Roebling, all playing detectives and lawyers and prosecutors. Everyone is morally compromised. Everyone is trying to navigate an impossible situation. Lumet shoots it documentary style. Handheld cameras, natural lighting, New York locations. The 3-hour runtime lets Lumet develop everything. The first hour establishes Danny's world, his partners, his family, why he becomes an informant. The second hour is the investigation spreading, people getting caught. The third hour is the fallout, trials, testimony, Danny realizing what he's done. No scene feels wasted. Warner Brothers knew it was uncommercial. They released it in August '81 with a limited release. Critics were unanimous. Ebert gave it 4 stars. The New York Times called it Lumet's best film. It got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars, and it made under $4 million domestic. These were 15 forgotten movies from the 80s that still hold up in 2025. Sidney Lumet's 3-hour police corruption epic that audiences ignored. John Frankenheimer's Elmore Leonard adaptation that canon dumped. David Cronenberg's best Stephen King film that got buried under other King adaptations. And that Michael Mann Hannibal Lecter film everyone forgot about until Silence of the Lambs became a phenomenon 5 years later. The nuclear nightmare romance that Hemdale couldn't market. the rocket car heist movie with a John Carpenter script, and that post-apocalyptic Valley Girl comedy that deserved far better. The 80s produced more than just blockbusters. These forgotten films prove that. Smart thrillers, ambitious genre experiments, masterworks from great directors, all buried by bad marketing, or impossible competition, or audiences that weren't ready. Just 15 more films worth rediscovering.